Hello everyone, welcome back. We are back for a new topic in the longevity playlist, how to get healthy and have a healthy life basically. And so this topic is a very big topic about diet and nutrition. A very complex topic that I think very few people understand, and generally speaking, there is a lot of information out there, and you can easily either think that it doesn't matter, you can eat everything, or uh, basically you can't eat anything. So, so yeah, a very complex topic, especially because you have all the health industry and so on that people are trying to promote their own diet and so they are talking about all the benefit and saying that this is the thing that you should do and all the things that everything else is talking about is just doesn't matter and so on. So that's really complicated to find uh, uh, just the information that summarize everything and tell you, okay, you get the big picture. This is it. Now you understand what you need to do. So this is what I want to do today. I want to give you this big picture. I want to help you understand what diet and nutrition is and what you should do basically during your life and how it will help you improve your health over time. So let's start with the most basic principle. How much? How much should I eat per day? And this is basically, if you want to get healthy, you need to and not accumulate fat. That's obvious. You need to eat less than what you consume. Simple fact. And so this is important to understand how much you are consuming on a daily basis, how much your just the basic requirement of your body is for you to just live, and then if you are doing more or less activities, what it is gonna take in terms of energy. So then you can have this scale of in terms of calories how much you should eat. Let's take for my example. I know that my average daily consumption of calories is about 1800 or 1900. And then, if I'm doing some sport or activities, I'm going above that, which over 2000. And when I'm really doing nothing during the day, just working remotely and not really getting outside or working or doing anything, I can go as low as 1600. So basically, the once you establish where you are, the a very easy way to go about it is say, okay, 1800. 1800 should be my target each day, basically. And so if you're able to do it each day, you will consume more than what you take in on the day you are having physical activities and so on. And on the day you're having less, you will take on more, but so you have this aspect. You can either just fix how much per day you are going to take, and this will balance out when you are doing some exercise and so on, or you adjust. You know, okay, this is my baseline, and when I'm doing nothing, I'm reaching this, so I need to eat less, and when I'm doing more, I can eat a little bit more. So, but this is really important to understand where you are. What is your baseline? So me, I'm 5'7". I'm 68 kilograms, so I think it's about 130 pounds, maybe. I don't know. You can do the calculation. So you see, if you are taller than me and maybe have as much muscles, or maybe you need more, somewhere around 2000 per day, 2000, 2200 maybe. Or if you're as tall as me but you have less muscles, you may want to go a little bit lower. But that thing, this is the baseline. If you don't know how much calorie you need per day, you will not it's going to be very complicated to then have a good healthy diet and habits. So and there is also a lot of misconception, because when people are talking about how much daily calories you need and so on, well, I have some weight scale that tell me that I should eat, I think, 2500 calories per day. That's just insane. Uh, the the amount of calorie people think we should eat on a daily basis is just way higher than what it should be. One of the rare things that has been proven to improve longevity over the long time is to have less calories per day. Period. There is, if you eat less, you will be more healthy. Generally speaking, you still need to meet your minimum requirement to live, but I mean, for me, if the rare time where I actually need 2500, or the time where I'm basically on the golf course all day, or I'm doing some heavy workout and so on, maybe at that point I will need 2500, but that's just so rare. Imagine if you just listen to those people that saying that you shouldn't eat that much. Basically, you spend 95% of your time eating way more than you should eat, and only 5% of your time eating what you need. And so that's just insane. So yes, have an objective view, and basically you can start from the bottom. Okay, when I'm doing nothing during one day, how much energy should I take in? And that is probably something around 1500, and not necessarily much than that. So if you do nothing during the day, then you add up. If you move a little bit, you can go as high as 1800 and so on. But that's for me. I know myself. So first thing in diet, know yourself. Know how much calorie you consume per day, and also the variation depending on whether or not you are active during the day. That's the first thing. Then let's talk about what we eat, basically what to eat. So in diet you have what it's called the macros and the micros. The macros are primarily three, which you have protein, fat, and carbs. And generally speaking, you can find not necessarily all of them, but a lot of them in very various foods. So each food, for instance, in meat you will have protein and fat, and also some carbs. And in fruits you will have, I think, primarily carbs. I don't know if there is protein, maybe, but there is greens that also have proteins, and so on. So you have, first of all, you have on one side the element, the food, and on the other side you have the macro, which is the composition of the foods, basically. And the micro is a lot of always we talk about vitamins and so on. All of these little things are the micro. But generally speaking, it's very difficult to. It's not difficult, but healthy healthy balance way of eating will give you the requirement in terms of micros, sorry. So the really important part is getting your macro right, because the micro, first of all, you will not very see the difference, and the micro, the true necessity is about not missing anything, basically, with the micro. This is but if you have a balanced diet and where you eat a little bit of everything, you probably won't have any issue with the micro. Then the macro, the macro, protein, fat, and carbs. So the micro, all the vitamins and so on, sorry. You should, if you have a balance and if you eat a little bit of everything, you shouldn't have any issue with that. Then for the macros, so I first want to talk a little bit about fat, because fat has a very bad reputation, and this is completely misguided, because fat is good. It's good for your body. Your body needs fat, and the fat you have on your belly or anywhere on your body has nothing to do with the fat you eat. Actually, not nothing, but the fat that you are putting in your body are basically calories, and those calories can be in form of proteins, carb, or fat, whatever it is. So whatever the calorie you are taking in, if you take too much calorie, you will store it as fat. So if you are only eating fat during your day, which is a strange diet, but let's say you are doing it, but you are not eating more calories than what you should eat, you can be very lean, very fit. So the fat you eat is completely different from the fat you get on your belly. Very important point. Then there is also this aspect of cholesterol. People say you shouldn't eat fat because of the cholesterol, but this is just half of the picture, because cholesterol in itself is not bad. Cholesterol, if put it simply, is basically fat that is in your blood. But the issue is if this blood stick to your vein, to your vein, and then create some mass that will prevent the blood from flowing. And this happen only if your blood vein and so on, your arteries, are inflamed. Basically, you have some inflammation on those tissue where your blood is flowing, and this inflammation can grab those fat, and this inflammation come from the carbs. The carb is rising inflammation in your body, and so when you are eating carbs, if you are also eating fat, the cholesterol become bad for your body. So this is really this balance. You need to understand that carb and fat are primarily two things that you want to balance. If you eat a lot of carbs, you need to eat a low amount of fat. And in the opposite side, if you eat very low carbs, you can eat a lot of fat. And that's absolutely not an unhealthy thing to do, because your inflammation on your overall body with a low carb diet will be extremely low, and therefore the fat will not stick to your vein, to your vein, basically. So this is this balance. Now, because I want to clarify, because fat is good for your body and inflammation generally is bad. That's why I'm going to talk a bit about later, but carbs, generally speaking, should be avoided, but you need to use it if you want to perform, if you want to do some physical activity, and carb is useful in this instance because you are using it as energy fuel. But we'll talk about later, but there is a lot of people that don't need to perform that physically, generally speaking. So carbs might not be a good idea for most people, and so let's move on. So then there is really two things. Let's say three. I didn't want to speak about the third, but let's speak about it anyway. So the three things that just you need to avoid, because it just destroys your body. I cannot put it more simply. This is just things that cause your body a tremendous amount of stress and yeah, and your body is not very equipped to deal with it. So the first one is going to be sugar, especially refined sugar. So in carbs you have some you have the fructose and the glucose, and the one you want to avoid is the fructose. And basically this is a sugar that you can find in fruits in general, but in fruits, when you are eating the raw fruits, you're having a very small amount of fructose. So eating the raw food, it's okay, but taking an apple and squeezing it into juice and then drinking the juice, you basically to have a good amount of juice you need a lot of apple, and so you're taking a lot of sugar. So that's a bad idea. And then there is sugar that is basically in a lot of things, and this your body is almost taking in, and instantly you eat it, it just puts it as fat. This is almost how it works. If you take refined sugar or fructose, your body will just not really know how to process it and just store it as fat. So yeah, I think if you want to get healthy, that's not really a good idea. And then the second one is going to be gluten. So gluten is a bit special because you don't necessarily need to avoid it entirely, but definitely your body is not equipped to digest it, especially the industrial gluten that has been they have changed the gluten basically to make it more sustainable and useful and cheaper to use. And so if you're using some natural gluten and so on, maybe you can get away with it. But most likely any food that contains gluten is using this new gluten that is extremely, that just your body can't handle. So um, you need to try to avoid it, but I would say also that you can do it from time to time, but very rarely, like once a week or once a month, because this comes down to another point I'm going to talk about later, which is the positive stress for your body. If you never hit it, your body will just start forgetting about how we can handle it, and so it hit it from like once a month or twice a month will remind your body how to digest those kind of things. So, and the third would be alcohol. So uh, yeah, fucking alcohol. It comes down to the next point I wanted to talk about, which is drink. So as a general rule, 95% of what you drink should be water. You should drink a tremendous amount of water. As for myself, I'm drinking at least 2 to 3 liters per day. And yeah, and I think we kind of forgot how much we need it. And alcohol is the same as sugar. It just goes straight to your fat. So not really good. And also it has some severe consequences for your brain and so on. So I mean, that's a very complex topic because people like alcohol is so I guess you can do it. Generally speaking, it's better to do it at lunch than to do it during the evening, because in the evening it will have a very bad effect on your sleep, and so then you can have a compound effect over. Basically, if you just drink alcohol on the evening and you sleep, you don't recover well, then you don't very feel well on the next day and so on. So this have a lot of effect during the next days. Where if you drink a bit of alcohol during lunch, your body gets the time to process it before you go to sleep. So general rule, avoid it, but if you can, try to drink just during lunch, during a lunch, like I say. If you can do it once a month, twice a month, as a positive stress for your body to remember how to handle alcohol, that will be fine. But don't do it every week. You don't need alcohol to be happy. You don't need alcohol for anything, basically. You don't need it. But I guess people like it, so be careful with it. So yeah, water. This is the big part. Our body is composed around 60 to yes, between around 60% of water. And so if you don't renew this water every day, you are running basically on overused water, and this have a lot of bad effect on your body and consequences. So drink a lot of water. I don't know how to put that more, but drink a lot of water. So then the next point is going to be about, okay, we have seen the macros and so on, but that doesn't make a meal. So what you should eat and when you should eat it basically come down to recovery versus performance. So all the diet that you can know of, which going to be on the extreme side, fasting, you are not eating, carnivore diet, keto, paleo, and everything else. So basically, you start from nothing and you add things along the way until you eat everything. So on this side, from fasting, carnivore diet, and keto, all of this side is going to be about recovery. You are giving your body the time and the necessary thing to recover and get in a better health, basically. So fasting, this is the easiest way to do it. You are not eating. So, and when you are not eating, first of all, you let your digesting system recover, and also there is energy that you don't use to digest, and this energy can be used to help all of your body recover from long-term issues and so on. And also fasting reduces enormously the inflammation in your body, etc., etc. Fasting has a tremendous amount of health benefit, but you cannot just not eat. Sometimes you need to eat, and so that's why I'm going to start from the middle with what I consider to be the best way for human beings to sorry, I'm going to start from the left to right. So carnivore diet, you stop eating, fasting, then the first thing that you can add is going to be basically meat, and so this is still on the recover side, because all of the other things that you will add will put some kind of stress on your body, where carnivore diet, where it still put a bit of stress, I think meat is the last thing that you can remove that still helps you improve your health and recover. So basically, if you start from a natural state where you eat everything, if you for some time go on carnivore diet, it will help you, first of all, clean your biome system in your digestive system, and it will help you recover, basically. So then about greens. Greens have like any living species, have defense to avoid being eaten. And that's why greens are putting a bit of stress on your body when you eat them. And that's why the carnivore diet allow you to remove this stress and let the time to your digestive system to recover from this stress. So this is the balance that we need to find. And so the next logical step is ketogenic diet, where you eat meat, fat, uh, and greens, basically. But you avoid as much as possible carbs, very low carbs diet. And I think I'm going to explain why carbs is on the performance side later, but I think that's the best way to generally speaking have a diet is a ketogenic diet, because it helps you having your body running on fat rather than on sugar. It reduces your overall inflammation in your body, and so on. The only issue I see with that is the fact that you're eating green, and if you are doing it too often, if you are doing it constantly, you never let your body recover from this little stress that you are putting on it. And that's why I think the best either from time to time you are switching toward a carnivore diet and so on, but I think the mix between ketogenic diet and fasting will be the best option for most people, where generally speaking you are on some keto and so on, and you from time to time you are fasting either by intermittent fasting, alternative day fasting, or even doing some 3 or 5 day fasting once or twice a year. So yeah, doing that, you let periodically your body recover, and then you eat meat, you eat fat, yeah, basically everything but carbs. And so yeah, because just a second. Yeah, this is about hormetic stress, which is basically what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so on the that comes to the point where if you carnivore diet is only something temporary, as well as fasting. Everything on the recovery side is temporary. You cannot just do it forever. And then this comes down to this, because to this hormetic stress. If you don't put this little stress from time to time on your body to remember how to handle the stressful situation, your body will lose this ability to handle it. And so, and this is Jordan Peterson, that is well known to do a carnivore diet, and that say exactly that. Whenever I eat something that I shouldn't eat, this has drastic consequences, because he has suffered from depression and so on, and he has found that carnivore diet helped him into improving his mental health. So that's fine, that's okay. He has a tremendous benefit from it. But the issue with that, staying on carnivore diet, makes the fact that his body doesn't know to handle the rest of the food anymore. So that's why fasting and carnivore diet can be useful, really interesting to help you improve your health, but on a short period of time. On temporary, you are doing it, but you are not doing it all the time. That's why I think the keto is on the middle between recovery and performance, and which is, I think, for most people, the best way to go about it, with from time to time some fasting, or even if you want to, if you like the carnivore diet, you can do from time to time changing from keto to carnivore. I think that's a smart play to do. Then let's talk about carbs. So the performance side of the equation, where we will find the paleo diet, the high carbs diet, and so on. So all of these things, why do we want to do that if we can have a tremendous amount of health with the previous thing I told you about? Why would we want to do that? Because carbs are good when it comes to physical performance. if you're an athlete, you need carbs. If you're running, if basically anytime you have physical activities that require you to be performant, you need to eat carbs. Basically, this is your body reacts takes the most energy out from carbs. So because even if you are fat adapted and you are able to use fat as a primary source of energy, your physical performance will not be as good as with carbs, basically. So, and this is a tricky part because even in a marathon, I think for people that just want to run a marathon, they can get away with just having a fat diet and running on fat. And this is the best way. I think actually, for the everyday people, the best way to lose fat is being fat adapted and running and doing some stuff like this. So basically, and run when you are not having carbs, so your body is forced to take into the fat to remove fat. So that's a good way. But the pro athlete in marathons, for instance, what you don't understand is they are training in order to run a sprint, basically, for 2 hours. So they are running at over 20 kilometers per hour. I don't know if you have tried it, but I don't think I am able to run, to sprint. Probably I am able to sprint over 20, but I mean, I can only handle it for 100 meters. I cannot do it for 2 hours. So that's why you have the general people and you have the athlete and the people that want to perform. And performance need carbs. There is no way around it. Performance need carbs. So yes, there is this aspect. If you need to be performant, that's a good idea to eat carbs. So let's put everything together, basically. And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing because I'm following what is for me the best way to live a healthy life. So first of all, I'm doing intermittent fasting, where I don't I eat basically at 7 p.m. Then I don't eat until 12 a.m. The next morning. So I have a pretty big window where I don't eat to let my body recover. Fine, that's what we want. Having a big amount of time during the day where we can let our body recover first. Then, generally speaking, I'm trying to avoid carbs. So I'm more not necessarily on keto diet, but I mean I'm trying to reduce it. Actually no, that's not true. That's not true because I'm an athlete. I need to be performant. So generally speaking, I eat a bit of carbs during lunch, and depending on how much I need to be physically active during the afternoon, I'm going to eat more carbs on or less. And if I'm going to need to be active during all the day, sometimes I eat a breakfast. Heavily carbs, just carbs, basically. So yes, this is that. But generally speaking, when I don't need to be active physically, when I just know that, I'm not going to do anything special during the day physically. I'm just running. I'm just doing eating without carbs, keto diet, basic. Then you have the evening, and so the evening is really important, and because no carb should be allowed on the evening. Period. I'm going to tell you why. Because when you are stopping when you are not having carbs, your body will transition from using carbs as source of energy to using fat. And this transition between those two is really uncomfortable. Generally speaking, you will crave eating because your body will run out of carbs and will tell you, I want to eat. And so this transition is very uncomfortable. And so if you eat carb during the evening, basically, the night will not be short enough to make you have this transition. And so you will wake up in the morning feeling hungry. And so it's going to be very difficult to go until lunch basically without eating if you're doing as me an intermittent fasting diet. And so the best way to do that is basically not eating carbs. So the last time you eat carbs in the day could be either at 4 o'clock when you had a snack at 3 or 4 o'clock, or at lunch if you did eat carbs. I'm explaining what I'm doing. But if you don't eat carbs, no problem. You never have this switch. You're always running on fat, and that's a very healthy way to go about it. But if you need carbs for some physical activities like I do, really, you cannot take in carbs after 3 or 4 p.m. That's really the limit, because then after that, you will wake up in the morning craving food and wanting food. And since I understand that, and on the evening I generally eat a lot of protein and fat, basically, I'm just eating that, I never been hungry in the morning, never. So because this is something that people may trouble about when they do intermittent fasting. They may feel hungry during the morning, they want to eat and so on, and so they are failing and just giving up on it and go back to having their breakfast and so on. But when you understand why you want to eat in the morning, and this is just because you eat carbs during the evening, if you remove that, you don't want, and so the fasting goes as smoothly as it can be. And actually you can easily do 24 hours fast without noticing anything. So yeah, that's it. That's the overview. Generally speaking, you want to be on the keto side with some fasting from time to time, and if you need to be physically active, introduce some carbs, but either at breakfast if you eat to be active during all the day, or just at lunch if you need those carbs for the afternoon. But really, don't eat carbs on the evening. Basically, the rule of thumb is after 3 p.m. Don't eat carbs. That's it. And yes, and then you can do some occasional, some from time to time, some bigger fasting in order to recover and get the full benefit of all of what deep fasting can bring, all the health benefit. So yes, that was a big topic. I think I covered almost everything. And if you don't like really the way I'm presenting things, you think it is lacking some data and so on, it's because I wanted to make the big picture and not overwhelm you with data. But if you really are eager for that data and so on, you can check in the description. I listed a YouTube channel, which is What I've Learned, I think. Yes, it's that. Well, he did a lot of videos about all this topic I just said about diet and so on, and also other topics, but yeah, on the different diets and so on. And he has done the work to actually pull off the data and analyze them to really have a deeper understanding of everything. So I watched all of them, and that's why I've been able to get this full picture of how diet and nutrition work. But if you want those data to understand it by yourself, go ahead. The information is available, and and then you will have a better understanding of what I said. So yes, thanks you for watching. If you like the video, don't hesitate to leave a thumbs up and subscribe also. And I see you next time.